Melissa Wallace and I will provide you my unique approach to selling home and share with you our expertise in navigating the home buying process. We value the experience of our agents at Boston Connect Real Estate so much that not only will you hear my perspective on real estate topics, occasionally you will hear the expert thoughts and opinions of our experienced agents at Connect Real Estate. Be a part of our roundtable. If you have any questions during the show, please call 781-837-4900. We love to talk real estate. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and wherever you like to listen to podcasts at Talk Real Estate Roundtable. If you would like a one-on-one consultation with me and my team to discuss your real estate needs, you can connect at Boston 781-826-8000. Now, sit back, relax, take good notes, and let's talk real estate. And good morning to all my South Shore neighbors. This is Sharon McNamara. You are, of course, listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. And had a frog in my throat. Haven't been here 2 weeks. I forgot how to talk. So here I am. I'm with the one and only Melissa Wallace. She's my sidekick. Good morning.
Good morning.
And, of course, we have Tim McKinney in studio this morning. WATD.
Good morning, Sharon. Welcome back.
Thank you.
You're
yes.
welcome.
That was really good. I loved it.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know. The mood struck me for some
yeah.
reason.
I would have sang along with you if I was on air.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
I got
next time.
Nothing but you, baby. So good morning. You are listening to Talk Real Estate, as I said, and we're hoping for some callers today. I know everyone's been a little, just sort of bunkered down and hibernating like bears all winter, and we haven't gotten many phone calls because I know you're listening intently, because I know Melissa has been, she works at Christina's as well, and people have been saying, what's the show? What's the topic tomorrow?
What's the topic?
And like, hey, I heard this the other day, and I can't believe that, and
yes, I have an update, everybody, and I hope Tracy Grady is listening. Tracy Grady, who is a full-time stage me, she has her coffee. So we were talking about selling things on Facebook Marketplace, and
she sold her coffee table.
She sold her coffee table, so she wanted me to let everybody know. 39 by 39, 21 inches tall. She sold it. Somebody came by and got it. So it's funny because we did that show and we were talking about it, and then we both worked that Saturday night, and there was a couple at the bar, and they said, is your coffee table still available? And so we had a good laugh. So,
it's funny because I feel like I was in Jamaica and heard about this coffee table. So,
the infamous coffee table, 39 by 39, 21 inches tall.
Yeah, it was so funny. So funny. Awesome. So you had Tracy week for me and Kristen for me, and I was on for 2 weeks. I hate traveling Saturday to Saturday, to be quite honest, so it sort of fell that way. I usually like to do Thursday to Thursday, which means I only one weekend, but didn't work out this way. But hope everybody had a wonderful, fabulous Easter, and I'm feeling, I am loud?
No,
because
my
I feel like
headphones
I'm
were
loud. And congratulations to our astronauts. That was so exciting.
That was fun. That was fun to watch. I didn't see it sort of live. So when I got home last night, I said to Ethan, oh, did the astronauts come back safe? And he was like, yeah. And then he said, they were sitting in the thing for like an hour and a half waiting to be like rescued pretty much. I was like, what? You spend all that time, in space, and then you come back and you're just like waiting, just sitting there waiting.
I think
they
that
were only a mile from their intended target when
Yeah.
they came back.
Isn't that crazy?
That's very impressive.
Yeah.
And to the second that they landed, though, I'm telling you, that's impressive. I mean, JetBlue should take some freaking hints.
Yeah. I know. We were just talking about JetBlue the other day and how that's how we fly.
I think I'm more worried about Spirit than JetBlue.
Yeah. Well, JetBlue, it seemed for a long time they were just, every time I traveled, I delay. But I'll tell you, this last trip was fabulous. So I apologize, JetBlue. I think you did a great job. I was just making
The grudge is over.
The grudge is over. I was just making a punny, so let's not go there. I don't want any phone calls. But today's topic, and, I know every week we say this all the time. What happened this week in real estate that's going to prompt this conversation for us this week? And before I left, I said to you, hey, can we do a show on when do I, right? don't worry, we're not doing that one today. But we're going to do that one because that's the question we get. When do I do this? When do I do that? When do I do this, right? So we're always trying to keep on track with our clients. But sometimes we have clients that are like way ahead of us. So we're not going to do that one this week. Just thought I'd bring it up. This week, there has been a lot of conversation. A lot of you have heard me before. I am part of a group of wonderful, wonderful agents throughout the country on an app called Clubhouse. And we learn a lot from each other. We give a lot to each other. We support each other in a lot of ways on and off the app. And this week, there was a big conversation, discussion, debate, arguments, everything about everything in between about exclusive listings, coming soon listings. So Melissa named the show Why Listing Your Home Matters: Exposure, Strategy, and the Truth About Off-Market Sales. Now, it's my show, so it's going to come very much from my perspective.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that a lot of maybe listeners or maybe the general public, their idea of pocket listings come from TV. So like if you watch $1 Million Listing and things like that, like, you know, it's exciting to have these pocket listings and to do these private showings and only, you know, show it exclusively to certain people. But that demographic is not sort of what we're used to right
Thank
here.
you for bringing that up, because HGTV, you know how I feel about HGTV and all that. It sort of destroyed the minds of regular people, quote unquote, right? Whatever regular means.
Yeah.
But that is a very valid point, and that is one of the discussions that I had with one of my friends, and her name is Cindy. She's from Utah, Salt Lake City. She's fabulous. I love her to pieces. But she also has a brokerage in Turkey, and she has some large listings, you know, multi-millions, like double-digit $1 million listings. They're like castles, right?
Yeah.
So in that environment, I can understand why a seller might say, hey, we're just going to keep this very private, because that population isn't going to be on Zillow anyways. That's looking to buy a castle.
Yeah, if you're looking for a $10 million chateau somewhere, like you're not like zooming through these third-party sites. You have a exclusive buyer's agent, and they are pretty much doing the hard work for you and bringing you they're off market. So like it makes sense for them. I mean, you know, of course, in certain demographics, you know, you want that privacy, and, you know, people can be nosy, and, you know, we see it sometimes here, and I don't think it made it to the agenda, but we see it sometimes here where, you know, and we see it in MLS too. It's like, oh, in order to set up the showing, you have to sort of essentially prove that your client can afford the house. So like providing a pre-approval or proof of funds before you're allowed to get into the home. And we see that sometimes. And it is sort of certain demographics and price points where people
wondering if it's a fair housing violation.
I know.
As I'm sitting here thinking about it, and I'm reading something off one of the other agendas, you did one and I did one, and it's prompting my mind to think, okay, so you want to verify if I can afford. Now in this area, we have $1 million properties, right? We have like Cohasset. We obviously have some big homes there.
We have Pembroke.
Yeah, Pembroke. We have some over $1 million, but up in like higher millions. Like you can go into the city, obviously, and there's $25 million penthouses, right? And that would be an exclusive group of people that probably would be able to afford that. So if it's one of our sports players or someone, you know what I mean? Like they're going to have exclusive buyer agents anyways, and that sort of group of people sort of all hang out with each other. So there isn't really a need to put it out on Zillow.
You know, it's so crazy. And this is sort of pop culture moment, but everybody that when Stephon Diggs played for the Patriots and Cardi B bought a house in Easton. That sort of blew up. The agents themselves were sort of promoting that she had bought, like pretty much telling everybody where she was going to live, quote unquote. I don't think she's actually going to live there. I think she'll have somebody else live there, especially now that they're not together. And she doesn't really have a reason to.
The house is back on the market.
Yeah, maybe. Even if it did go back on the market, think about the people, sort of the looky-loos that are like, I want to see Cardi B's house, or I want to see where Stephon Diggs, like sort of a piece of pop culture. I would say if I was selling that house, it would be sort of off market exclusive, like you have to sort of make an appointment. You have to know that it's on the market type of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think for the most part in our general area, so here we are, mostly what, Plymouth County and Norfolk County, and of course we have Bristol County as well. We're not in that realm of person who it might make sense for. Okay, I'm putting it out there that it might make sense, but let me just sort of back. So there's a lot of industry buzz, confusion, and opinion surrounding coming soon listings and exclusive listings. They are two different things, okay? So I want everybody to understand that. Yes, you probably have an exclusive listing agreement, which means that your listing agent is exclusively one company. Boston Connect Real Estate is listing your company, but we're not really cooperating. We're not paying anybody, but we're putting it out to the general public so everybody can see this house as soon as it hits MLS. So when we put a new listing into MLS, it then is syndicated to all the other networks that you're looking into. So if you're on Zillow or Trulia, if there's such a thing anymore, Realtor.com, Homes.com is a big one right now. Even BostonConnect.com, even the local newspapers that have Boston.com, whatever, it gets syndicated everywhere. So this is one of the things, even as a boutique, where sometimes people are like, oh, I'm going to go with a big box company because they'll sell properties internationally.
They'll reach a higher audience.
Yeah. Knock, knock. There's this thing called www, World Wide Web. Wherever they put it, we put it too. There is absolutely positively no difference. So don't fall for it. Today is my day to just say it real. And I always want to do my show more like that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to tippy toe around stuff. I'm telling you the truth. It doesn't matter if you're with a small boutique like Boston Connect Real Estate, getting that hands, on sort of, approach to selling. Yeah, personable. And, like the broker being very involved if our agents want me to be, right? Versus a big box company. There is absolutely positively no difference. They'll say that they have better this, better that, blah, 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 blah. They may have some of that stuff, but we can get it too.
Yeah, we all have access to the same information. And so that's why whenever I hear like, oh, are you familiar with this area? Like when you're being interviewed for like listings and stuff, like, oh, how many houses have you sold in this? We all have the same access to all the information, no matter where you're from. We can all, do market reports and everything like that. So it really comes down to the agent.
Yes.
It really comes down. It doesn't really matter.
Agent, you know how much I've been harping on that big time, and I'm not holding back anymore. And I understand that there are a lot of people out there that want to get into real estate and want to do it part-time because they have another full-time job. I get it. But please don't use your other full-time job as an excuse for you not to do this other full-time job.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Full-time plus.
Hey, I work at blah, blah, blah. Sorry, I have a full-time job at T-Mobile. Doesn't work with me. Like, don't you get a lunch break?
This is a true story, by the way.
Like, it's just infuriating, and it's infuriating. And the reason why I get so hyped up and why I get so passionate about this, and our listeners are either scratching their head saying, what the heck happened to her? Isn't she just coming back from vacation? Or they're like, I love this fiery side of Sharon. And the reason why I get upset is because I hate to see that our agents have to do more because another agent is choosing to do less.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Hey, while you're at your full-time job getting full benefits and doing other things, and you're expecting me, literally one of our agents right now has something under agreement. And she was talking to me the other day, and she's like, oh, yes, the deputy shifting agent said she couldn't make it. Well, what? No, that's her
Who
job.
set up the appointment?
Apparently, I don't know. Maybe our agent did. I have no idea.
That's crazy.
I'm leaving names out of it just to sort of stay anonymous because
sort of say anonymous.
Sort of stay anonymous. But yeah, like what? No. So anyways, here's this, conversation about what is best for the consumer. This is it all back, people. At the end of the day, are more concerned about what is best for our client versus anything else.
Yeah.
Okay. And I was having a conversation yesterday with one of my friends from Clubhouse, actually, and offline, and we were talking about it. And I was like, part of me thought, oh, well, it behooves the company that's do an exclusive. So an exclusive, I'm not talking about the listing agreement. I'm talking about an exclusive listing with just the company and no other outside agents.
Yeah.
Okay. It doesn't make sense with a broker, like a brokerage our size. Period. Amen. But you have some big companies. And again, there are companies out there. I like all of these companies. They're great companies. You know what? They got a lot of guts. I'll tell you that right now. I think they have a lot of guts to do the things that they've been doing by pushing the buttons and pushing on Zillow, right? Good for you. I love to see that. Fight back a little bit for all of us, to be quite honest. But does it make sense if you're listing your home to list it and only the people who could sell it are the people that are within that company? And it makes sense with us, 28 agents, right? Unless your circumstances require that. That's part of our agenda, I'm sure. Some of these other companies have 300,000 agents nationwide.
Yeah.
So is that different? Does it make sense? But then at that point, I'm like, you've already brought it out to 300,000. Why don't you bring it out to the rest of them?
Yeah. 7 billion.
Yeah. Like, why don't you? Right. Like, so bring it out to all of the agents out there. So everybody, because we'll get into it, why I think that way. So is there a difference between us and the bigger companies? Yes. Are they going to have more exposure with a private listing than, I don't know, are these big companies to beat up the lid? I have no, on our own lane doing it. This is how I feel. If you're minding everybody else's business, who's minding yours, right?
Yeah.
I'm gabbing, huh?
Well, yeah, I'm just listening to you.
Okay. So anyways.
Well, back to those sort of companies, I know that they do these sales meetings where it's all about, oh, I have this, do you have this, you know, and it makes sense when there's 300,000 agents. Yeah, I'm sure somebody's bound to have a buyer, somebody's bound to have a seller, you know, and they make that connection. But you know, is the average agent, you know, sitting on the South Shore going to be a part of those 300,000 people meetings? Probably not.
No.
And then, you know, when you have agencies like ours, it's a boutique agency, about 28, you know, agents that, yeah, we all connect. We're all, you know, working in and out of the office. We have our office meetings. We have these same sales meetings. Again, we all have access to the same information. But you know what? We also pick up the phone and say, and call each other, and even others that we have great, hey, I have this, you know, and anybody, you know, our looking for this, for just doing everything possible to connection for our clients.
Yeah. And that's the thing. We're not letting, and we'll get into the rules of what works versus an exclusive listing. But in-house, one of the things I was saying, yes, I had the books companies, it behooves them to have it. And I don't know how they're changing the mindset of the seller. We'd go, hi, Mr. Seller, I think the best idea for the first 2 weeks of your listing, we're just going to promote it within our own company. Yeah, we have over 300 agents, 300,000 agents. Just going to promote it within our company, within our personal MLS, and see if we can get that. So big company is the buyer's agent on that same property. So your client, your company is getting both sides.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about this, and this is where I've really been hanging my hat, but I've had a little bit of change of heart, because that approach really doesn't make sense to me. Because let's just say one of our agents, we decide to do an exclusive only within our office. Let's just say I have the listing, and then Tracy has a buyer. Okay. And so if Tracy's client sold my listing, that would be an in-house listing, exclusive within the office, right?
If you had never put it into the MLS.
If I never put it into MLS,
given
exactly.
the exposure.
If the seller agreed that this makes sense. And I'm trying to figure out why it would make sense. So if you're listening, please call 781-837-4900, 781-837-4900. You can also text in studio. Read your message if you're battle this morning. Love and call us on this. So we know that there are a lot of people that go to Christina's that listen, call us. We want to talk to you. So then I was thinking about it as I was talking to my friend from Orlando yesterday. And I said, it doesn't even really make sense now that I think about it, because if Tracy has a buyer, let's just say my listing is on the market. I always use 500,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say my listing is on the market for $500,000. Tracy has a buyer for my listing. All right, great. That's an in-house listing. Whatever, But Tracy has a buyer. Tracy's $500,000 client is going to buy something.
Yeah.
So it's still revenue into the company.
Yeah.
So I don't.
And, depending on, I think you also need to understand as a listing agent what the most important thing for your client is. So if it's price, having an exclusive is not the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
If price is the most important thing to a seller, the exposure that listing needs will come from going on the market. And we say on the market by putting it into MLS, multiple listing services, having it syndicated to all of those sites, even ours. Yeah. Even our site. We can see you on our site, by the way, everybody. we can see you searching. Yeah. And if price is the ultimate factor in what you want the best of, having the most exposure. And exposure, I want to clarify, is not just everybody in the world can see it. It's the number of qualified buyers are seeing it. So in order to have that exposure, it should be positive, and that positive comes from the qualified buyers that can see your home. So those that can that essentially qualify for that maybe price range or anything like that. So
it's the office exclusive. One of the things I was reading as you were talking to is a property is not broadly marketed to the public or exposed to the full buyer. Doesn't that explanation in itself say not again? So thinking what I circled in my notes, and I have two different things going, so I apologize to you about that, Melissa. So my perspective is that it's often market driven. So as I'm talking to my friends from around the country, we are all in very different markets. Okay, so my friend Anna from Pennsylvania, her market very similar to our market. Florida, the Sand States, like they're struggling a bit. They're on the struggle bus a bit. Where things are not moving as fast. Days on market is long. So they're different. And I know that one of the conversations that we had this week on the app was, and the nighttime rooms are my favorite now because one, we can swear, and two, like you can just say it how you feel.
You can't swear during the day?
Not during the morning, no, because people are getting their kids ready for school and stuff.
Is that like a
It's not a clubhouse rule, but
is it just sort of like a whatever the word is?
Just being cordial, I guess. Yeah. So, anyways, so one agent, and I don't remember who she was, and I don't remember where she is from or any of that. I don't remember who it was. She said an exclusive office listing. It's an exclusive office listing. Makes sense in her market is because a lot of the sellers, so things are not like our market, they're not moving fast. In her market, they're very slow. And apparently, sellers need to make a certain amount of money. Now, my favorite slide when I do my analysis for people. It's the value of your house is not what I want, what I need, and what I have to have. The value of your house is what the market is telling you your house is worth. That is based on similar homes, similar condition, similar rents at that sold price, right? So as I'm listening to her, I'm thinking this makes zero
I'm
sense.
confused by that.
I saw your face.
Yeah.
And I felt the same way. So I'll take this is basically what she said. I will take an overpriced listing. And again, I'm not making fun of her. It's just the way the market is. That's why I'm like, this is all market driven because I can't imagine thinking like this. And I hope we never have to. She'll take an overpriced listing because her seller says, oh, well, I have to make this much. I want to have this much money. So they'll put the house on the market. So if it's a $500,000 house, right? And in this marketplace, I know it was more like 300, right? So my seller wants 325. All right, I'll put it on for 325, 350, whatever. Appeasing your seller by putting it exclusive office listing for 2 weeks. So let's just see if we can sell it within our own company first for the first 2 weeks. And the mindset was it just sort of appeases your seller. Now,
I feel like putting an overpriced market, putting it out there. Yeah, I don't like
whose
that.
time are you wasting?
Well, also you're sort of banking on somebody overpaying for your listing.
And don't you have a better chance of someone overpaying for your listing if you put it broadly out to the entire world and not just your office, whether it's 300,000, 2,000, 1,200, 28 people.
Yeah.
So like that, you have a better chance. Like it made no sense to me.
Yeah.
So, and then like the other thing is, okay, so one, you're giving false hope and false expectations to your seller. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
I am here to educate our clients on what the market is. And that's why we have a lot of our listeners out there that have hired us to do this for them. And I go through the comps very carefully. And I tell them this is what the range is. Now, where our market is, chances are you're going to get over that right now.
Yeah.
That's called emotional value.
Yeah.
I can't gauge that. But to put a house on the market for 2 weeks, you're paying for photography? We're paying, I mean, out the gate, we're paying what, $1,000, $1,500 in some instances for all of our photography, our, like flyers.
Yeah,
marketing materials. You're going to do that for 2 weeks?
Yeah.
And it's still,
or sellers are going to get what they pay for, and you're not getting all that. You're not going to get all that until it is going to be put on the market.
And then, okay, so they're agreeing to this way. Then when live, they're going to low. So here's what also doesn't make sense. I put a lot of into this, and I'm really sort of glad that I'm not on Clubhouse right now because they would be bombing up my phone. But if they are listening out on Instagram and you want to call in, feel free, 781-837-4900. I'd love to have this chat with you on air. So here's the other thing is you're going to put it on the market for 2 weeks overpriced. And that's the model, right? So if you're in that office and your fiduciary responsibility is to your buyer, right? Because there's buyer agency and seller agency, your fiduciary responsibility is to your buyer. If I was a buyer's agent, I'd be gobbling that crap up no other. I'd be like, hey, listen, we just got an office exclusive. We know that everybody who does this, they're overpriced.
Yeah.
In fact, the seller knows they're overpriced because the listing agent is telling them, hey, we know you're overpriced, but let's try it 2 weeks in-house only. So why don't we go to them with an offer, $25,000 less right now?
Yeah, I think that's artificially inflating the market.
Yes. It's giving false hope and expectations to your seller, and I don't think that that's right because their financial future is based on what you tell them at that moment.
Yeah.
I don't like to give anybody bad news. Really, truly don't, but I've had to. I remember when we had a market like that in 2008, 2009, 2010, when I opened up this company, there was a declined market. There was no place to go but up. And I remember going to a couple people's houses that were upside down, right? Because of when they bought and then when they were selling. And I would call them and say, I know that the news I'm going to give you isn't going to be what you're what you're hoping for. Would you like me to bring you a hot fudge sundae or a bottle of tequila?
Yeah.
How do you want me to approach this with you?
Yeah.
But as the professional, Mel, don't you think it's my job?
Yeah. Yeah. But you know what? At the end of the day, people are going to go with what they're motivated by. So you see it sometimes when you, and I hate to say up against, but like when, maybe a seller is interviewing multiple agents, if their motivation is to get the most amount of money and sort of are dazzled by, what some people say, they go with, whoever gives them the highest price. Doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get it.
Yeah. And that's why I say, when people are doing me now is much different. I have always worked by referral, but that's the client base that I'm working with right now is just people that I know in the past have been referred to by them, right?
Or our listeners.
Yeah, of course. And, but I do it is my obligation to be the professional. I mean, you don't go to a doctor and they want to tell you, hey, we have, hey, I'm just going to sugarcoat this. Like, maybe if we don't look really hard at this MRI, nothing is there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, or maybe we'll just try this for 2 weeks and see if it goes away on its own. Right? Like,
Just
right?
diet and exercise. You'll be fine.
Yeah, let's try this for 2 weeks. And if that doesn't work, then we'll start a really rapid thing of like chemo.
Yeah.
Right? Like, think about how silly that is.
Yeah.
Right? So one of the other things too is, and I know you printed out this article on Zillow, and I'm sorry, and I apologize that I haven't read it, but one of the things I want to say too is I am not disparaging any of these other big companies that do this. I truly am not. In fact, I like all these companies. There's a lot of agents in these companies that I really respect and have a high regard for. That is not what this conversation is about. Is I need somebody to help me figure out why this would absolutely positively work in our market. We're talking about our market right now. And then one of the other things I noticed is maybe they're starting to understand that it isn't the right thing to do for the seller anyways. The best way for the seller to get the most amount of money with the best terms and condition is to put and syndicate it to everybody, because you can have more eyes on it, a bigger buyer pool, more people interested in your house.
Yeah.
And if the market is slower, you have a better chance of getting one when you're fishing in an ocean versus fishing in a puddle.
I would hope that maybe a seller would say, after hearing about the exclusive listings and things like that, that their response would just sort of be very much like, well, wouldn't it make sense to just put my house on the market? I'm just trying to sell my house. Like, it doesn't have to be so complicated.
But they don't know what they don't know.
They don't know what they don't know. And I had a thought, and it escaped
you need a pen.
me.
That's what I do. Yeah, you have to write down those thoughts. That's what I do all the time.
Okay.
So while you're thinking of your thought, I'm going to continue my thought on Zillow and Realtor.com, Homes.com. And these companies are obviously seeing it themselves. Hey, we have a better opportunity with more people if we take our in-house office exclusive and syndicate it on Zillow.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's Compass is connected with Zillow.
Yep.
So now their stuff will be on Zillow. All right. Then I think it's Keller Williams that is with Redfin. Something. I don't know. I don't know who's with who. There's so much traffic
with ourselves.
Yeah.
And our goal is to sell your home.
and here's the thing. When we put your house on the market,
it goes to all those.
It goes to all of them.
Yeah.
Like, ours is going to Zillow. Ours is going to Redfin. Ours is going to even like Compass's plain website. Like, they're being syndicated everywhere.
Yeah.
And again, I am not saying anything bad. I promise you, I actually like Compass very much. I love all of these companies. All right, go ahead. You just thought. I saw you get your thought.
Yes. I know we're talking about sort of the cons of this. Pros, I will touch upon for a second is, we've had situations where it is best for our client to have that privacy. And just being real, there have been hoarding situations.
Yeah.
There's been situations where the house is just not safe to be in, and it does just need somebody to come in and just be, sort of exclusively, sort of listed to people who have the means and the ability to fix up this home or even tear it down. There are situations where, there's some privacy things with like first responders and things like that. It's not having that super exposure in those situations sort of makes sense. And I think especially because we have come across some things.
Yeah, we had a situation here in our office one time where one of our agents came to us, and I don't even know if we put it on the market, but it ended up being in-house, and it was a situation, and it was very much a hardship situation. And this is one of the things I love about being a boutique, because as the person who's making the final and ultimate decisions, I guess, for our agents, first they go through you. And if you're like, I don't know about this one,
I'm the harder one.
you're the harder one for sure.
They know to go to you if they want to
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, but I remember, Donna Bagney, who's a full-time agent here, she's been in the industry as long as me. And, we started together at Jack Conway, another great company. There's a lot of great companies around here. We're very fortunate. And every company I've been at, I've learned a little bit of. And that's what I based the foundation of Boston Connect Real Estate on. But she had a situation, and it was a dire situation for this person. And we did it pro bono. And then Tracy Grady had the buyer for it, and
Who was a builder.
Yeah, because this place had to be, it was condemned, so it had to be torn down. And she did that pro bono.
Yeah.
So, and look, that just gave me goosebumps. Like, to think that our agents, when I tell you our agents are different type of species here at Boston Connect Real Estate, we're doing things holistically. We're doing things from the mindset of what is best for the consumer always.
Yeah.
And both of those agents and the company said, we don't need to make any money, not a red cent on this at all. And to the point where one of the sale of that house, the seller's daughter was an adult daughter with some disabilities. Very, very nervous in like settings.
Yeah.
And we had the closing here, and Mary brought in Dexter,
Yeah.
her dog, to sort of calm down, make that girl feel comfortable during that whole process too.
Yeah.
So we are doing those types of things. Then that's what I said. There are situations, there are hardship situations, but that wasn't done out of motivation of greed or finances.
That was not a property that could be financed. So putting it out to the general public and sort of putting that person's personal life on sort of blast was just not the right avenue for that situation. So it was sort of an exclusive. Donna did what she was supposed to do and talked to our agents, and Tracy said, I have a builder that would absolutely love that. They made that connection, and ultimately that builder did get it and built a brand new home, and Tracy ended up getting that listing. So, it all worked out in the end. And like you said, we all did our part in order to get to the finish line, and that's to have that seller be in a safe environment and for that builder to have another property to build.
Yeah. So it is 8:43 here in Pembroke and Marshfield. It's the same time frame there, same time zone in Marshfield as it is in Pembroke. But we have Tim McKinney, who is the best producer in my eyes over at WATD. He's my guy. He's been with me for, years, 20 years now, maybe. And he's in studio. So if you have any questions for us, or you just want to sort of ask us questions, about this topic, anything about real estate, of course, but I'd love to know what your mindset is, and if you can think of other reasons why this might be a benefit or why you think it isn't. 781-837-4900.
Yeah, I know we still have to get to coming soon, but just another touch upon the cons is fewer buyers equals fewer offers. And then I think that sellers are potentially leaving money on the table when they don't have that exposure. So I have this little key takeaway, which is off market might feel exclusive, but it often limits your leverage.
100%. This is what I mean. Would you rather go fishing in an ocean, or would you rather fish in a puddle?
Speaking of puddles, I have an otter. Otter at my house. I have some water.
I've heard so much about this otter.
I've been showing everybody.
We have a Fisher cat. Your otter for my
No, I
Fisher
want
cat.
the otter. Yeah, we have this cute little otter. I remember the one, but
Fisher cats are not cute. They are like vicious beings.
No,
but I guess
anyways, that's my otter story.
They have a purpose at some point. So let's define. Okay, so that was exclusive. So an exclusive office listing. I'm not talking about an exclusive listing agreement where you're only listed with us. We are the only that represent you. And I know Ginny wrote exclusive means just that. Ginny Wandell, obviously full-time real estate agent here at Boston Connect Real Estate. I don't know when she'll be starting up her Saturdays with Ginny again for coffee,
know. Maybe
coffee and
nicer weather?
conversation. Yeah, coffee and conversations with Ginny. I mean, you can have them anytime you want, but sometimes she'll hang out here on Saturdays.
Busy beaver.
Yeah,
She's been busy.
I'll be here all day today in the office. But it's, you get positive, passionate, and professional, and that's why we are unique. And but the exclusive, like, we're only going to promote your listing to people within our office. So we told you what that means. It's only being marketed to that group of people. It's not put in MLS, okay? And it's not syndicated everywhere. Even though these other companies, again, I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. I'm just saying I want to open your eyes to this. I want you to be aware of what this is. And I'm not sure, like, what I can't understand is when people are choosing to do this, I'm hoping that they're hearing not just like why that agent potentially saying, well, this is a benefit for you to do this. I want you to ask the question. I'll be honest, I don't care who you list your house with. Like, really, like, you have to do what's best for you and your family. But ask the other question. What would be the downside of me doing this?
Yeah.
Because that's where that agent has to, their fiduciary responsibility is to you. And we are a fiduciary state. They are responsible to help you financially. So ask that question too. You've told me all about this. It's all beautified, right? It's fluffed.
Yeah.
It has all the gems on it. Like, hey, this is why you should do this exclusive with just us. Tell me why. Tell me a negative to that. Always ask that question. So the other thing that I want to talk about today is coming soons.
Mm-hmm.
Coming soon is when you are listed with a company, doesn't matter what company it is, and they put out you can put it in MLS, but you don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
You can do like what you did with us, like just promote it on Instagram. And by doing that, by the way, I can 100% see why other companies would like you to do exclusive office listings, because if they're doing exclusive office listings, can they promote it out like that? I don't even know if they can.
I would assume not, because
Yeah,
it's
they
not
can
going
only-
to be offered to the general public.
Yeah. So I don't know, maybe only on their own sites. I have no idea how they can get your thing out there other than on their own website. So the coming soon would be, I'm coming on the market. I know I'm coming on, I think on our MLS sheet here, it's like within 21 days, you have to be live in MLS. So you're just sort of promoting it, but you're not allowing anybody to visit it.
Yeah.
You're not letting anybody in it. You're just letting the general public know, hey, I have a new listing that's coming on the market. It's not ready to show yet, but keep your eyes open for it. So I can see a lot of pros to this.
Yeah.
I can also see some cons to this, right?
Yeah. I mean, I just personal experience. When I was looking, I didn't necessarily love it as a buyer, only because I was already anxious because I had been in the game for long enough where I was like, I was jumping at anything that I saw. So, but you know what? I got to calm my nerves by reaching out to the listing agent and asking the questions that are necessary to get information before that goes on the market. And then you get an idea of the time frame it's going to come on for, the price, sort of location, and just depending on what the listing agent is willing to share with you. But a lot of the time it is, it's for the benefit of the seller, not necessarily for the benefit of the buyer to like know that something's coming on. I think it's necessary for a listing standpoint, because it does get exposure and, sort of more eyes on a property, and that's your job. Your job is to sell it. So the more eyes, the better, in my opinion. So if you are doing a coming soon, I think that is a good avenue for your seller.
And I think it's really important that people our understanding, and a lot of these things are in place because of most of us are part of the National Association of Realtors, and there's clear cooperation, right?
Yeah.
Where that's part of the rules of being this, that we will, we will cooperate with other agents, right? Um, but with the soon, I'm just going to say it. I'm going to tell you the truth. There are some agents out there that potentially considered ruthless. I'm not thinking of any one right now. I'm just saying in general, I can see how easy it would be to do something that wasn't what you're supposed to be doing. So you put, while I was in Jamaica last week, you put my new listing at 72 Pilgrim Trail, Marshfield. It's on the market for 1.1, by the way. I'll be there Sunday, 10 to 12, which is tomorrow. But if you're showing, please give me a call because we started showings right away.
Yeah.
And we've already had several. But the amount of people that were calling me, texting me, and you. And for me, the way I reached out to people is, I'm happy to give you the information on this property. Please have your buyer's agent reach out to me because I definitely don't want to interfere with any buyer agent's relationship. Like, they're with these other companies, you know what I mean? I'm happy to cooperate with all these big companies that I've been naming, right?
Yeah.
And again, it's not to disparage them. It's just to say, like, different models that they openly talk about on their websites. So, and then the people who didn't have a buyer's agent, I was like, I'm happy to set you up with somebody in my office that can help you, But the coming soon, I could see a lot of people coming to me that do not have buyer agents. I don't want to do dual agency, okay?
Or at least saying that they don't.
What?
At least saying
at
that
least
they
saying
don't.
that they don't, yeah,
They
because
don't.
then there are times where they're just lying too, and they have somebody, and then they're cheating on their buyer's agent, and they think, and again,
Which happens a lot in new construction.
yes, and one of the things that I hate right now is one of the things I'm seeing in our market is talking to one of our agent office, actually, Kristen Howlett. I was talking to her about it, and we're noticing some things with some sellers out there. No one that we're particularly working with, but it's like, it seems like their motivation is based on greed. Like, sort of like when I know buyers, like, they're waiting for the to drop, waiting for that. That's not based on greed, but it's based on financial, right? Like, I want it to be lower so I can afford more. I want it to be lower so my lower. Like, keep on waiting. Now I feel like sellers are like, I can get more. I can get more. You have to base it on what the comps are today, not what we think that they might be, right? And then, so is the motivation of a seller coming from a place of greed? Our job is to get you the most amount of money with the best terms and condition. I promise you that's what it is. But is it also, there was another part of that too. Oh, and then I see if, I hate this even more. It gives me a stomach ache for the buyers that they're working from a place of desperation, and that's not a fun place to be.
I do a newsletter here at Boston Connect Real Estate every Friday to our agents, and for forever I've always put a meme in. Usually it's always about real estate. It might be about a holiday that is around the corner or anything like that. But this week, my meme was it's all words. So the first line says, "I'm going to wait for rates to drop back down to the threes." And then it says, buyers must have forgot what that looks like. Lines out the door at open houses, 20 plus people in a frantic bidding war, waiving all contingencies, offering to pay for the seller's kids' college. People forget what it looked like when it was in the threes. So do you really want that? I mean, yes,
really
absolutely you want the payment, but do you want the headache that goes along with it?
And that's what I said. Right now I'm seeing, and that's what this coming soon is to me, is like stirring an energy that's artificial. Like, and I don't like that, stirring that energy. I like to slow things down. That's why when I put a listing on the market, showings start immediately. Your agent out there to have your private appointments. I like to stir the energy that way. And people are forgetting, and I've said this before too, is, the reason why we used to hold showings until the open house was because of it. Remember, we had to wash everything. We had to wash down the handles. We had to wash down all the counters. We had to wash everything down after the showings. So then we decided, let's just do it once at an open house.
Yeah.
And forget about it. You don't have to do that anymore. Just open your doors and let the showings happen. So with the coming soon, I can see, some benefits. This is why the amount of calls that we're getting on our coming soons, and you've been bombing up. Faith Birmingham has a new listing coming on in Pembroke next week. Well, I got a phone call here after hours last night when I was sitting in the office, and then told her, to call Faith directly. She's gotten over 40 calls on it.
Yeah.
I've gotten tremendous amount of people calling me on my new listing on 51 Old Tree in Pembroke, and I'll be there tomorrow, which is a 4-bedroom colonial on the market for $750. I'll be there tomorrow, 1 to 3. I've gotten a ton of people calling. Well, if I was an agent that was only thinking about myself, I might say, oh, I have the opportunity to do dual agency here and not and let these people in early. You're not supposed to do that, people. And then have them have a head start.
Yeah.
You can't do that. A coming soon means it's coming soon. It's not being marketed. It's not being shown to anybody, to your own clients, your company clients, or anybody.
Yeah, there are rules and regulations that we have to abide by different organizations that we're a part of, not just within our own company. There's regulations of how long a sign can be out front of a listing before it needs to be on the market. There's regulations for us about how we market it on social media and even on the radio and things like that. So there are guidelines that we have to abide by. It's not just, oh, we're going to throw a picture out there and hope that, we find a buyer. It's like we have to abide by these rules or else we get in trouble.
Yeah. So here's the form from MLS, right? So it says coming soon, off market. So it's still off market. Use this option if the seller wants the listing field in the coming soon off market status and does not want the listing to become new on market until the following date, which must be no later than 21 calendar days after the filing of the listing coming soon, unless the deferral of showings option is selected below. Showings must begin on an active date. So you could come live, but say, I don't want to have showings until, okay, I'm putting my house on the market on Monday, but I don't want to have any showings until Saturday at the first open house. I don't like that idea either, but that's another show. While the listing is coming soon, MLS PIN will not syndicate this listing to third-party websites that display on-market listings.
Yeah.
So it's not going to say coming soon on Zillow. It's not going to say any of that. You're only going to see it through your agent.
Now because those third-party sites have their own where it is coming soon or previews. And I said this, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but maybe it was last week with Kristen. That the motivation behind that is to capture leads. I'm sorry, it's not to sell a property. It's 100%. To capture your information. When you're on these sites, you're clicking away. You think that you're getting somebody when you're really not getting anybody that has anything to do with that. It's somebody who bought that lead and buying you.
Oh, and not only that, I mean, it comes down to it. And that's actually a very good point, Melissa.
Thank you.
Really, really good point. One that I hadn't thought of at all and didn't come up in, the conversations that we've been having on, Clubhouse. That is 100%. What is king? Data, whatever you want to call it, is king. So every time you see the coming soon and you click on it and you're putting your email in there, that company now has all of your information, right? So now they're just going to try to promote to you all the time. They're just trying to get your listing. They're just trying to get your business. At the end of the day, are they looking out for what is best for you, the consumer? I don't know that it is. All right, just to reiterate, I am going to be tomorrow, 10 to 12. I'm going to be at 72 Pilgrim Trail in Marshfield. That is a 4-bedroom colonial with the most gorgeous pool and spa you have ever seen in your lifetime. So that line, and I'll be there 10 to 12 tomorrow, and I will be 1 to 3 tomorrow. I'll be at 51 Old Tree Road in Pembroke. That's a 4-bedroom colonial on the market for $750 at the end of a cul-de-sac. So make sure you look those up. If you want more information, call me directly, 781-294-4848, 781-294-4848. If you want more information about what the value of your house is, I'm happy to go do an analysis for you there too. So give me a buzz. Anything else?
No, go to bostonconnect.com to find contact information and all of our listings and even costumes.
And open house. Go to Cochise in West Bridgewater from 10 to 12 10 to 2 both days, and we sold the last reservation. And Cushing Trails is all sold out, my friend. Great weekend, everybody. Bye, Tim.
Bye.
The South Shore's first choice for live team coverage of breaking news, emergency traffic, and severe weather. 95.9 WATD FM Marshfield.